Crescent City Steakhouse, a true neighborhood restaurant operated by the Vojkovic family since 1934. It is the oldest steakhouse in the city of New Orleans. Serving only hand-cut, prime-aged, corn-fed beef for over 80 years, Crescent City Steakhouse has become a dining destination for both die-hard locals and adventurous travelers who seek traditional, timeless New Orleans cuisine. Crescent City Steakhouse, 1001 North Broad, on the corner of St. Philip, in the heart of New Orleans.
Fall in love with autumn with PJ's new seasonal lattes. Our pumpkin latte brings you all the flavors of a pumpkin pie with hints of cinnamon and nutmeg, like your favorite holiday dessert in a cup. And our s'mores latte with flavors of toasted marshmallows, warm milk chocolate, and graham cracker cinnamon is sure to bring back campfire memories. The PJ's Fall Seasonal Lattes, available at your local PJ's only for a limited time.
Hey, don't forget my pimento cheese. Of course.
It's okay, I'll take it from here.
Hey, you forgot your receipt.
For the love of palmetto cheese.
Good evening and welcome to Primetime Sports. Spring is in the air, and I got to tell you, this is when the SEC tournament, the American Athletic Conference tournament, Southland tournament, they're all here right now. And guess what? LSU plays tomorrow. We now know the opponent, South Carolina, who, by the way, remember, that is a team they only got 2 games against because they had a rainstorm. They split those games, so that's going to be a tough opening game tomorrow for the LSU Tigers at 9:30 in the morning. Get ready to get your coffee going. UNO, they finished 4th in the South, and they were tied with Lamar, who got the 3rd seed by virtue of them winning the season series. So they're going to play in the first round game tomorrow at 2:30, and that's going to be 2:30. And Tulane, well, their game will have just been played. We taped this a little bit earlier. They played at 3 o'clock today against Houston. Delgado, how about these guys? They are back. There's Joe Sherman right there, legend, back into the JUCO College World Series. Congratulations to them. I got some sad news because I'm a fan of Matt Reiser. He was a star in the mid-2000s Tulane World Series team. He's been coaching over at Southeastern for a long time. He's an excellent coach, 320 wins in a decade there, and he went to four NCAA tournaments. He got let go, but I know he's going to find a job very soon. And by the way, the New Orleans Saints, we can't start an open without them. They're going to start their OTAs. They started them today, basically. Foster Morrow, who we talked about, the local guy from Jesuit, LSU, and he played for the Raiders, and now a Saint. He has cancer, but he is going to be ready, at least in some shape and form, to play in the OTAs and at least participate. Hey, his stepbrother is a guy named William Good. William Good right there. We talked about him in the Open last week. Well, he's going to be on this show with his coach. He won his 2nd state title in just 3 years, and it's a great story. I cannot wait to have him and his coach on. Also, his fellow Tulane signee, Blaze Blanchers, is coming in from Turlands Catholic. He's going to be there with his family here as well. They're all baseball players in college. I can't wait for that. Kenny Goodlett, the Jesuit coach, will be here as well. NBA playoffs. I love the NBA playoffs, but the conference finals have been a snoozer if you like to win games. The Lakers Nuggets have had all pretty good games, but the Nuggets have closed them out in a sweep. They're going to be going against they're the 1 seed. They might be playing the 8 seed Heat, who are trying to close out their series tonight against the Celtics. That'd be the first time an 8 seed will have ever made the NBA Finals. Regis Prograis, he's been on this show a couple times. Great boxer. He's coming to the Smoothie King Center now. He's a WBC champion. I love him. June 17th. We'll talk more about that later. Jim Brown, the legend, passed away. And he was one of the greatest. He was the greatest football player, in my opinion. Always has been. I've seen enough footage to know that. Jim Brown passed away. Rest in peace, please. And we have the WLAE golf tournament. It's called the Father Tom Chambers Memorial Golf Tournament. Y'all go do this. It's going to be Friday at Audubon Park. Registration's at 11:30. Go to willwoods.org. That's willwoods.org. Register. It's going to be a beautiful day, Friday afternoon. We have a great show for you right here on Primetime Sports. gentlemen, start your engines. I'm ready to put those spikes back on. Hey, welcome back to Primetime Sports. I'm Scott Alexander, but that right there was William Good, his pregame speech, pep talk, right before the state championship game against Rummel, a game that he started pitching, pitched 6 innings, and they won 1-0. They got a 4th inning RBI in that game to win it by Patrick Berrigan, but that is the 22nd state title the Jesuits had. That's the 3rd most in the entire country by any high school. That's pretty remarkable. They've only got 7 to go to get to number 1. But the coach we have with him is Kenny Goodlett. He's been part of 4 of those back in 07 and 11. He was an assistant coach, but the last 2 out of 3 years, in 21 and 23, he won the title himself as the head coach. He took over in 2018, in the middle of the year, and he's been coaching there for a while. And I have them both right here. I'm very excited about this. We've had many basketball coaches and football coaches when they've won state titles and brought a player along over the past 6-7 years. But, you know, baseball, I had 3 years without COVID. 2021, 22. My show didn't come back till this time last year. So we haven't had any baseball, so this is the first one. And Coach Goodlett, Scott Alexander, good to see you, buddy.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for coming. Hey, William Good.
Thank you very much for having us.
I know William's dad and mom very well, Kelly and obviously Billy very well. Known them for a good time. I never knew they had that kind of athleticism in their family, man. But hey, going back real quick, when you took over this job, I know a friend of mine used to be the coach and he left midseason, but what were your expectations right off the bat? Because you had been an assistant, y'all won, you know, a decade before that, and you won even more recent than that, about 6 years before that. When you took over, did you have any thought that you might be going 2 out of 3 one year?
It was just about keeping the tradition.
Yeah.
Keeping everything that we've done and worked on past and making it where it's going to be the present, and just keeping that strong tradition alive where we're working hard every day, playing loose, having fun, and continue to win and bringing some championships, hopefully along the way, back to Carrollton and Banks.
I know your dad went to Holy Cross, and I know, you know, it's funny because I left for 30 years and I see the kids of my friends, they go, you know, a lot of them have gravitated to Jesuit. I mean, I'm talking about the De La Salle, the Holy Cross. I mean, a lot of them have gone there. I know the athletics are great, the academics are great. What made Jesuit the school for you?
First off, didn't have much of a choice, but it really was the discipline, the tradition that everybody keeps coming after, and they want their kids to experience that type of discipline, like I said, and really the academics, and then alongside that you have the sports, which continue to be successful year after year after year. So
I'm gonna stay with you on one thing because I didn't know this till yesterday, but your great grandfather played for Jesuit himself back in. I got a couple photos. I don't know if we can find them from 1921,
right?
Which blew my mind. I'm like, so I don't even know his first name, but he played at Jesuit back in the day.
Correct. And I've had multiple other family members come through Jesuit. A couple other, like my father went to Holy Cross.
Right.
Grandparents went to Warren Eastern, but I have had a couple family members come through Jesuit. So.
Well, as far as this year, I mean, the road wasn't easy. I know I saw the power ranking. Well, there's Will Clark right there in that one. That's a former star. But yeah, we have some older ones, much older looking pictures. You'll see that from 1921. But no, back. You know, when I look at this tradition here in Jesuit, when I was in high school, they were always good in sports. But when this past couple of years, I mean, listen, you had this run this year at 23. You started the season at number 11, not the ranking, but I looked at this power ranking, I guess all schools, maybe in the state of Louisiana. Right. You know, you're never going out thinking right away we're the #1 team. You know, you have confidence in your players, but you had a lot of guys returning. I think there's 13 seniors on this team. So what was your thought process coming in the season?
No, we thought we had a good nucleus. We felt that pitching was going to be a strong point of our team, and build around that with great defense. And I thought overall, if we can just keep low-scoring games, we tell them all the time, keep it to 3 runs below, and we should have a chance in every single game.
Well, I'm gonna bring that up because you had him pitching. I think you were 7-1. Maybe Bryce Pitts, who's going to Delgado to play for Joe Sherman. He was 8-1. I looked at the strikeouts, 75 strikeouts in like 40 innings. That's a good start. And then I know you had a couple other guys, Lee Bridgewater as well. So when you have that kind of pitching, does that give you some confidence?
Absolutely. When we have someone like that on the mound that we know that's going to command the zone, not give them free bases, make them earn every single thing, and then let their defense play behind them. The guys behind them don't get bored. They like to play with those kind of guys. They keep a good pace. They know they're going to have strikes. They know there's going to be a chance to make a play. And then they want to back that guy up because they know he's doing his job. Well,
I'm going to go here. I looked at what Rummel had done during the entire playoffs. They averaged 10.5 runs a game. During the playoffs, you got to think they're going to get a couple, right? I mean, I know you're pitching, so you're confident about that, but you held them none. And I think, was it 3 hits? What was the total hit thing? Not very many.
4 or 5, something.
Right. Regardless, I mean, so you shut them out. You, obviously, your relief pitcher came in and closed it, Gates Barre. Right. But when you go in against a team that's averaging 10.5, I mean, what's your thought process on managing the strike zone?
Dominate the strike zone, first off, with the fastball, so you can come with your junk and whatnot. But I also just want to give credit. We played, I mean, it's what we're known for as the Jesuit team. We played great defense. And in that game, I think we had 2 really big plays, one being in the 2nd or 3rd inning with bases loaded, 1 out, short pop fly to left field.
Helps.
And we gun the guy out at home.
Oh, he went for it. Okay.
Right. And then we have another situation in the 6th, I think, where they had a 2-out double, and the next guy comes out and hits a swinging bunt. And our third baseman comes up, and he pump fakes to first. And the shortstop, Jake Maurice,
with 2 outs?
With 1 out. With one out here.
Okay.
So this would have changed the game here. And our shortstop probably won't get enough credit for this, but this play would never have panned out the way it was. Jake Maurice. He follows behind the runner to third base. If nobody's there to cover, it never happens. Third baseman pump fakes, turns around, throws it to third base with 1 out in the 6th inning and gets him at third base. So now we have 2 outs with a runner on first.
That's giant.
Right.
That's giant.
Huge.
Especially in a 0-0 game.
Well, it was 1-0 at the point.
Oh, y'all already scored.
Right,
okay,
right.
I thought y'all scored in the 4th. Okay.
Right. So it might.
That's the 6th inning. Right. So hey, when Berrigan got that hit, I mean, you obviously, it's got to give you a little bit of a comfort feeling. You know, we're almost averaging 10, but. Did you think that might be the only run of the game, or was that game kind of going in that direction where obviously it was becoming a pitcher's duel because it was the 4th inning halfway through?
Pitcher's duel, but I did not think it was going to be the only run.
Right.
I just thought it was the first one.
Right.
I thought there was more to come on both sides. Romo did a great job of getting people on base, and then we did a really good job of holding them off and making some plays and just making some key pitches and plays along the way. Did I believe it's going to be a 1-0 game? No.
But when Gates came in, what was your thought there? Because, I mean, he's apparently done it all season. I looked at the ERAs, by the way. I mean, listen, I remember in baseball, I don't remember any of our guys having like 1.15, 1.5 ERAs, and maybe a couple, but it's very rare. It seems like half your pitching staff had that. But when he came in, how comfortable did you feel in that 7th inning?
I wouldn't say comfortable. State championship and you need 3 outs. But at the same time, we were comfortable with him on the mound. This is a kid that's been doing it all year long. They were voted on as reliever of the year by the district coaches this year. He's been solid. It's a kid that commands the zone. He has all the confidence in the world in himself. On the mound, we have confidence with him. And he has confidence in his team behind him. It's one of those things that we did not believe he was just going to put guys on. They were going to have to earn it. And we're just going to go with the guy who's been doing it all year.
You know, I've become good friends with Jay Ullman. I've gone to our next guest restaurant, Yale College Inn, with him a couple times. I've had him on the show a couple times. And I know they took some lumps this season, but he's got this nucleus coming in. I just want to direct this one to you, William. Of guys around here. There's a couple Catholic High guys, a Dunham guy. You know, you got you at Jesuit. You've got Blaze, who's from New Orleans, who's going to be our guest next. And he's there. He is right there on the show. We're doing the batting stance, but he's from New Orleans. But he's getting a lot of guys. But he obviously played in Lafayette in high school. But he's getting a lot of guys from the region. I know Tulane is known for it's being a national school. Obviously, kids are coming from all over. But what does that mean to you to have a bunch of teammates coming into this program, which has 2 World Series behind them, man? I remember the one in 2000 when they beat LSU over here at Zephyr Stadium back in the day, and they won a few years later with Matt Reiser's team. But the fact is this is a team with tradition. They actually expect to win. So this is what I call a kind of a graduate school year for Jay. You know, he kind of inherited guys, but he's going to be able to play with his own guys next year, and you're going to be a part of that.
No, we're extremely excited. Like you said, this might be the largest in-state recruiting class in a little while for Tulane. So I think maybe they're trying to get back to the old 2000s days where it was a lot of local boys going out and just playing and drawing a little bit of a crowd and whatnot. And so, I mean, I've grown up playing against Blaze, playing against Catholic boys like Cole Cranford and whatnot, and playing with them even. And so being able to go to the same school as them, playing with them and whatnot, it's awesome.
I can't wait to get in this when Blaze comes on, because y'all both played some at Carrollton, right? I mean, you've been around, and I'm looking at I played at Carrollton. I think everybody that grew up around here, the Mannings played at Carrollton, but is the tradition still going? We had a team that was 126-1 over 3 years, and it doesn't seem like that ever ended. But I love to see that going, but we'll get in that with this. But right here, I want to give some of your guys some love because you've had across the board. I was looking at the stats, I was looking at the numbers, I was looking at some of the honors, Hunter Ufnak being one of them. Right. Let's talk about some of those guys.
Yeah, Hunter Ufnak, first baseman for us. Defensive end for the football team, and then comes out and plays baseball for us, and just a big solid kid that
teetered with 400 all season, right?
He was 409, yeah, in between the 430, 380 mark throughout.
Nice.
He was a solid part of our lineup and can hit for power. One thing he doesn't get enough credit for is actually his speed. He's kind of a bigger guy, so they look at him over there, but he led the team in stolen bases.
Did he really?
He
Wow.
did.
Well, he led the team in a couple other things too. I was looking at, the hits, and he's obviously scoring a bunch. But you have table setters, and I'm looking at across the board. You got guys that were getting 20-plus RBIs, and when you play a short season, people might hear that like that's not many, but that's a lot in high school.
Right.
So, but talk about some of the other guys on the team that were essential.
Yeah, Will Good right here.
What was this guy right here? What was he like?
Oh, he's terrible. No, we're blessed to have him because he's a leader.
Yeah.
And is a guy that William, and a lot of people don't know about William. He came in as a sophomore, played basketball for varsity team. We went deep in the playoffs, came in late, and played right field and second base for us.
I heard Chris Jennings was real fired up when he didn't play anymore.
Yeah, he was.
The basketball coach at Jesuit, I know.
I love Chris, but I don't think he was.
He wasn't too happy about it.
No, but right field, second base, and then junior year was third base, pitcher, and then finally we had to make him a catcher this summer due to injury.
Why. Okay.
And we kind of was figuring out our catcher situation in case, and he commits.
You went all in.
It just showed how special he is as a student athlete
like
and as a baseball player, that he can, one, go to Tulane, and two, play those positions and be successful.
And
at
that's
all
the
levels.
toughest position to just pick up. Let's be honest with you.
Absolutely.
That's a whole different animal, man. You're calling games, you got the whole thing. So what was that transition like? I'm gonna say this real quick. The reason I brought up Chris Jennings, because you decided to focus on baseball your junior year, right? And I know after playing a lot as a sophomore, what was that to you? Because I'd like to play all the sports too, but I love basketball the most. But when you decided just to focus, what was the reason, and what was it like for you?
Obviously, love basketball, but like Coach said, came in a little bit late to baseball. Baseball, first off, that was
Has it always been your first love?
Yes.
Okay.
Sir. So that's always been my first love. I was about 4, maybe 5 weeks late into the season. I think they had played almost 15 games going in my sophomore year.
Yeah.
And also was I might have been 160 pounds coming in.
Is that you as a little guy? You were about 16 pounds right there.
Right. But all the running and whatnot, I had lost a bunch of weight, and I just realized I could maybe go in my off seasons, gain weight so that I can come into my baseball season ready to go and ready to roll.
Yeah, talk about some of the other guys real quick, because we went through a few, but I noticed. You have a lot of guys that are seniors, but a lot of guys that are hitting 300 plus. Some are even closer to 400. A lot of guys that are having, like I said, in the 20 RBI range. But it seems across the board, you got guys that can drive runs in.
We did, and we have 13 seniors on this team of 23. But in that state championship game, we had 5 of them that are going to be returning.
Wow.
A freshman in right field with Michael Brothers, a sophomore shortstop with Jake Marisi. Patrick Berrigan in left field, who got the big hit, as you said. It was clutch along the way, especially in the playoffs. And it's just he's a little bulldog.
No doubt.
Everett Denny with the play he was talking about earlier at third base.
Yes.
Just a headsy play, which is another guy who's played outfield, who's played shortstop, who's played third base, who's caught and pitched for us.
Was he leading off some?
He was our leadoff.
Right.
That is correct.
Well, speaking of that batting order, this is another thing I noticed, because looking at the batting order for almost every game, you're batting second most of the season, but I noticed towards the end you were clean up. First I'm gonna get your reasoning, but what was your take when you went to that driving in runs area?
Really, maybe I didn't know exactly why I was put in that position. I'm just willing to go wherever I am, but I think a lot of it maybe had to do with driving in some runs.
Right. Well, Coach, Why'd you switch him? Because I literally went to every game, and I noticed all the way up until maybe late March, early April, somewhere mid-April maybe.
Right.
Yeah, he was batting second, then he went to fourth.
It was one of those things where we just have to figure out as the year goes on, every lineup is a little bit different, especially early.
Yeah.
It's to find out who can hit them in.
Yeah.
Can we get guys on to hit in? That's half the battle. Good did a great job of that earlier on in his junior year. He was our leadoff hitter, and he started off. He's very comfortable. Not too many people are comfortable in that leadoff spot.
Right.
So it takes a special player
Sure.
to do that and get on and kind of set the tone. When we found that Everett Denny was capable and comfortable with that, the move was to have Ufnak and Good, either way, 3 or 4, to feel that we have a little pop in that middle of the lineup to get them in and try to set the tone and put pressure on people.
I always say this, and I wasn't old enough, obviously, to know Mel Ott, obviously great, but Will Clark, Mel Ott. Those are the 2 names you realize that coming from the city of New Orleans that are the greatest baseball players, and I'm sure there's others we can have an argument about. I happen to be a year under Will, so I played basketball and baseball against Will all the way through. When I look at him, one of the sweetest swings ever. Obviously, this is a Jesuit alum that y'all take a lot of pride in. He played at Mississippi State, had a great career there, and we all know San Francisco Giant, and he would be in Hall of Fame without question, without some injuries, and even with that, I think he should still be in. But the fact is this is an alum that sent a text to your dad after he saw the speech, and he threw some choice words in there, and it just reminded me, because you look like Will. Honestly, when I was doing that, I remember Will was that fiery guy. He had that high-pitched voice, and he was always just yelling at all the time. But you reminded me of him. And when Billy sent me the text after he sent that video to Will, and he was all fired up, he goes, this is what I'm going to show all of my players and all the guys in every level of baseball. And I'm sitting there, and I've said this too. I'm going to say this again. It's the greatest high school pregame speech I've ever heard, and it's really one of the best I've ever heard, period. I don't care what level. And I've produced games for 30 years, professionally, college, and I've been in many locker rooms. It's unbelievable. When you see a guy like Will Clark, who's a legend, not just at Jesuit, not just in New Orleans, but around the country in baseball, what does that mean?
Well, really, it's awesome in the first place, but I just want to go back to, I've been a part of that 2021 state championship team and seen those guys inspire me and the leaders that they were, and then and really find it, like, you see there's plenty of talent in this state. There's plenty of talent. Yeah. And what really gets guys to the next level and to win championships is the camaraderie and morale of the team. And when you have people that are good leaders, I find that that's what drives you the extra mile. That's what wins you the championships, because everybody has talent. And so, and going back to what Will Clark said, it's awesome. Couldn't say anything else.
Listen, 22 titles. Some of them started back in the 30s. We know that, but you've been a part of 4 in 2 decades. Let's be real. So this tradition is real. Like I said, it's the 3rd highest baseball high school championship level of any team in the country. We had JT Curtis on many times, including December, and JT's about to break the all-time winning coach's record for football, and that's just remarkable. And the guy he's about to break is a guy in McKissick who I knew well when he was at South Carolina, because I lived in Atlanta and I interviewed him a bunch. But this is just excellence down in Louisiana. We have it all across the board, and I love that. Once a year for football, once a year for basketball. Now I'm going to do this year for baseball either. And it's always tough, because this year I had Randy Livingston and his guys at Newman. But there's, we have 3. St. Charles Catholic won this year. I want to give them some props. E.D. White won. That's local teams that are doing great things. And the talent level is great. Congratulations on everything you've done at Jesuit.
Thank you so
much. For real. That's Kenny Goodlett. And also, we got gifts here. And in the meantime, I want you to sign this helmet, my man, because now you're a Tulane Green Wave. You're signed, sealed, and delivered. We're going to put you in some gold so it signs up. But that's William Good. Yeah. Tulane fans, get excited. We give gifts, like I said. I'm giving you the XL because you're going to grow into this, I know. You look like you were double XL when I saw the video. But we also have a gift certificate to Shays de la Shays, which is on Maple Street between Carrollton and Broadway by the Starbucks. And also you can go to de la Shays on St. Charles as well. Coach, I'm going to give you a little more because you probably got a family to go with. And, hey, we'll get you a little.
Thank you very much.
As a student, I can't give too much of that. All right, hey, I appreciate you, man. That is William Good. He's going to stick around, though, because his buddy Blaze Blancher is going to join us next. And by the way, at the end, we're going to have the whole Blancher family. 3 generations of Blanchers. I know them well, all of them. I love them all. They all play baseball. They all play college baseball. They all love the sport. But I want to first thank you, Kenny. I appreciate you so much, and you sticking around. But we're going to come right back. Blaze Blanchard, he played at Tulane Catholic this past year, but he's a New Orleans boy. He grew up here, and his dad had some business to do over there. We'll talk about that Ye Olde College Inn in Lafayette a little bit as well. But that's coming up next right here. 2 Tulane signees that are going to play baseball there in 2024 right here on Primetime Sports.
Rock and roll will never die. It's old New Orleans, my oh my. Come on, baby, let's go rock and roll at the city lane. All night, let's roll, let's rock and roll. Baby, do the rock and roll. At the mid-city lanes, the home of rock and roll.
Max Durbus Realtors has been providing commercial and industrial real estate services to its clients for nearly 100 years. Since 1934, Max Durbus has been locally owned and operated throughout the greater New Orleans area, including the North Shore, Hammond, and even the Mississippi Gulf Coast and beyond. We focus on your commercial real estate needs so you don't have to. More information is available at 504-733-4555. The recent devastation from hurricanes have caused insurance companies to significantly raise their rates. However, most of them are offering large discounts if you install a fortified roof system, which uses larger nails and has a much stronger, resilient base underneath the shingles. The fortified roof professionals at Skyline Contractors can install these new roofing systems for you. More information is available at 504-355-6845 or at skylinecontractors.us.
Hey, welcome back to Primetime Sports. And like I teased in the last segment, I got 2 Tulane signees right here. Tulane baseball fans, get ready. Great things are on the horizon. You got all kind of great athletes, and 2 of them are right here. You already met William Good, the Jesuit star. And also now we have a guy that grew up in New Orleans as well. He played baseball at Carrollton Ballpark. He was around. His dad and grandfather owned Ye Olde College Inn and Rock and Bowl, 2 of my favorite places on earth, much less in the city of New Orleans. But his name is Blaze Blanchard. Is that a baseball name or what? Blaze Blanchard, and he's joining William Good, who was here last segment, and they're both going to be Tulane Green Wave baseball players in the spring of 2024. Welcome, buddy.
Nice to meet you.
I know you went to Lafayette back in, welcome again, back in, when you were like 7th grade.
Right, 27.
And I know Rock and Bowl Lafayette opened up. It's become a huge success. It's great. What was it like as a kid that age, 12-ish? You might have been 13, might have been 11, I'm not sure, but around that age, going to a new city like that, at a pivotal age.
It was pretty tough, but I always said that home's where my feet are, and so Lafayette's going to be my temporary home for high school. Home is where my feet are. That's impressive now. That's a mature thing. Did you say that in 7th grade too? I did, but my dad told me to. Oh, you did? That's true. That's a good way. I've truly learned the meaning of it. Now, what's the difference as a kid, like being in New Orleans and Lafayette? What's your first thing off the bat that you noticed that was different? A lot less city. New Orleans, you got the French Quarter, and in Lafayette, everything's spread out, country roads. Yes. And it's grown. It's grown a good bit, but you're right, because I've been to Lafayette a bunch as well. What did you like about Lafayette? I love that it had a lot of high schools that cared about baseball, and it wasn't too big of a football town, and it was all about winning baseball games. So William, do you remember when you 2 first met by chance? I'm just curious. Had to have been, junior year? Junior year. We played each other for the John Ryan Invitational, John Ryan tournament. We played against each other. Was that summer? When is that thing? That was during the spring. That's in the spring, during the season. Right, beginning of the season-ish. I think I met you officially when was it you were in town, you were playing at Jesuit. You played Jesuit and you lost, I think. It was some kind of tournament, I don't know. It didn't seem like it was during the regular season. Are you in a fall league or a summer league or something? Our junior year, we lost to Jesuit at Jesuit, and senior year, we But that was a regular season game? Yes, sir. Okay, because I remember the whole family had come in, and I was sitting
I'll sit at the restaurant at Yale College Inn, and everybody piles on in. I remember seeing that, and that's, I think I mentioned, I was like, this kid looks like a baseball player. I said, you got it going on. But talk about like your thing. I've heard your name. You were committed to Texas A&M as a sophomore, and that's not easy. That's an SEC power. They're a great baseball program, and I remember your dad being very proud, and we were talking about it with former LSU basketball coach John Brady. But what's it like as a kid getting an offer that early to go to a big SEC school?
It's a pretty surreal moment, and you work so hard to get to that point, and you finally get there, and then you realize you got a lot of more work to put in, you know.
Yes.
And it was a very, very cool moment.
But there's always, you know, did you know that there might be a coach? I mean, you never know there's a coaching change. You get that, but the new coach is obviously going to bring his own people, or, you know, so what was that like when you realized that that coach was not going to be there anymore?
Well, obviously, you commit to the coach. You really don't commit to schools anymore because
that's a fact, by the way. I've been around this a long time. That's a fact. Right.
The coaching carousel these days is crazy. And so once the coaches that recruited me got fired, I knew I had to find another place. So I decommitted, and after a lot of thought, I realized why not look any further than Tulane.
Right. I mean, in your backyard, did you grow up at all? I mean, going to Tulane games? I know you and your dad used to go all over the place, and I've seen pictures of you at Tulane's stadium, Turchin, I believe it's called, and also Rosenblatt. So baseball's been in your blood. Did you like Tulane at all growing up?
I loved Tulane growing up, especially during when I was young. Was Rick Jones times.
Rick Jones.
It was fun to see the tradition be built, and they built a new stadium. They turfed it out and made a great venue.
Now your dad was at LSU though. You got any love for LSU, the Tigers? This right here.
Of course, by default, they tried to make me a Tiger fan,
but you wait, Johnny, you didn't do your job over here. You wasn't a Tiger fan at all. At least I love both. Everybody knows I love both. You can't love both? I mean, not now.
Nope,
but
gotta
before
pick
this,
one.
You gotta
pick one.
That's what it was like when I was growing up. You have to pick one. I said, no, I'm going both. What made you become a Tulane Green Wave?
Tulane, really, once again, backyard. Had a couple other local schools just looking at me, but really, as soon as Coach Ullman called me, my mind was already made up.
Let's talk about him for a second. Like I said, we're going to show a couple more pictures. He was on the show. Probably the same ones, but I love this guy. Like, I mean, I've met him in passing a couple times before, but then when he sat here for the first time in June, I think he might have just gotten the job. I'm like, I can see why he got this job. Very easygoing. We're playing the pitcher-catcher thing right there in that picture. Just having fun. He's just a fun guy. He's a California guy, easygoing. And then he came back before the season. And I looked at his schedule. I'm like, I had just had on the same show Jay Johnson from LSU. I had Blake Dean on from UNO, and they did it the right way. They got easy opponents, man. Let's get the schedule. I'm looking at his calendar right on the road. He's going to California, USC. I'm like, Coach, don't you know this ain't how he's supposed to start the season as a new. But no, he said, I want the challenge. And everybody's going to look at the record and say, hey, but the fact is, he went out and played the best, and he didn't care. He went on the road to do it. And that's because he wanted to get the name of Tulane out there. So that's got to tell you something, Blaze, about your coach. He just said, hey, I'm not worried about this particular year. We're going to try to win, of course, and good luck. They played today. The beauty of the magic of television is that they just played, by the way. The game started at 3 today, and because we taped it right before the game, I don't know if they won. But let's hope they did beat Houston. But the fact is you have a coach that is going out and trying to do it the best he can for the school and not just pad his own record.
Right. It's great to have a coach that has a backbone and is going to fight for you, and hopefully we'll fight for him back. When you play, though, I know you've been a center fielder mostly your entire career. You've dabbled with pitching, I'm sure other positions. Is that where you want to play for sure? Because I know I have lots of stories about guys like, say, Chipper Jones, for instance. I produced the Braves for 14 years. He came in as a superstar shortstop. Shortstop. But turns out they had a shortstop that could play better defense than him with the Braves, so he became a third baseman. Would you be open to playing anywhere on the field? I am open to it, and I'm just ready to help out the team. Wherever they need me, I'll go. So you got dad and grandfather as baseball guys that are going to tell you exactly what to say. But the facts are that you would prefer to play center field, right? And you can expound on that if you like. that is true. I would love to play center field, but
But you'll play
Coach
anyway.
Ullman wants me somewhere else, that's what I'll do.
Well, you're the Swiss Army knife as well right here, because we talked earlier, man. You weren't a catcher.
Yes, sir.
And you played third base, first base, pitched, and you still pitched this past year. You played. I saw the number 5, which is a third base sign on one of those box scores. So I know you played third base at least once this year. But then you caught. What position does William Good want to play when he gets over to Claiborne Avenue?
I mean, obviously, I'd like to find somewhere permanent, but like Blaze said, I mean, really, any incoming college athlete, they just want to find a way on the field. So wherever I can find a way on the field, whatever I can do to find my place on the field. Obviously, like I said, I'd like to find a more permanent spot, but to start, it's up in the air.
Hey, Coach, he likes being a Swiss Army knife, but he also would like to find a more permanent spot. But he'll play anywhere you want to put him. But hey, putting that catcher's gear on every game, every inning, that's got to be a little bit tough.
It's a lot. It's a lot, especially with the pitching side of that too as well. It takes a lot of recovery. Luckily, we have a good training staff at Jesuit that helps me and our team with the recovery.
So I'm going to read between the lines, Coach. He likes catcher, but he'd like to be out in that field too. Let's go ahead and do that. Moving forward, though, how was the transition back? How long ago did you move back, Blaze, to New Orleans, and how was the transition coming back? I mean, are you getting to run into some of your old friends home?
We moved back. We moved back around.
You're going back and
2
forth,
weeks
though, right?
ago.
Oh,
we are going. We are going back and forth right now since I graduated. But William and I will move into dorms in July. Start a summer session. That's one great thing about Tulane is a lot of it has to do A lot of it has to do with a degree.
There's
that's what brings us towards Tulane too.
There's a lot of panache going on. There's a lot of sexiness going on with Tulane right now. The football team, it always helps, man. Alabama has always been Alabama, but until Saban's done his thing, it's a whole different university. You go there and it's it looks completely different than it did 20 years ago because they're winning and building new buildings. LSU, before this run started with Saban again, then with Miles and Coach O and now Kelly, well, it's become sexy for out-of-state people to come. All of a sudden, my kids came from Atlanta. They're like, LSU, yeah.
Right, but luckily we have a better library.
Yes, you do. Much better library at Tulane for sure, and I will not deny that. I grew up a Tulane fan, so you're not hurting my feelings at all. But the facts are, and they actually go to the library from what I heard at Tulane. That's what I'm told. But the fact is, it's not a 4-year degree, it's a 40-year degree. That's going to be something you're going to hear a good bit. But going back there, I mean, you're home, you get to do it, and you're right there. Literally, you're in your neighborhood. Your dad's restaurant is a half a mile away. I mean, you're going to be playing right there in Claiborne. You just got to make one turn to get to where your old College Inn and Rockville. This is home for you.
Right. Yeah, it really does feel like home, and it's going to be very, very nice to be able to leave a long day of practice and go get a free meal at Yale College Inn with my grandfather.
I like a free meal at Yale College Inn too. That sounds just wonderful. Hey, by the way, give me your favorite moment that you can think of. With not putting you on the spot, but I want you to think your one favorite moment playing high school baseball.
My favorite moment.
You got one that just stands out like that? Like, gosh, I just remembered that and just loved it. You have a dozen, I'm sure, but.
That's a tough one.
Is it a tough one? I think yours should be easy. Yours is one.
Yeah,
you got 2 state championships.
You got to win
right?
a state championship.
That's right.
Never won one.
You didn't win one?
No,
so Turling's had a bunch before you. You came to a school, but you're only there for 1 year. You can't expect to win them every year. But I mean, you have a smooth. I've been watching the video. Thank you, Dad, for sending me a bunch of the video. You have a beautiful swing. You got that lefty little swing. Is there one hit maybe that stands out? Maybe, I don't know, it doesn't have to be this year. Could have been your 8th grade. You're a 5-year starter, by the way. I didn't mention that. A 5-year starter in varsity, which is remarkable. Ascension Episcopal, right before that, before Turling's. But starting as an 8th grader, that's got to be something, huh? Walking out in the field.
It was a pretty big moment, but I learned how to control it, and I didn't go in there and try to be the big man. Something I wasn't. You know, I knew I was going to be undersized and a lot of older kids, and just took it as find my role. You guys, you might have been preordained. It might be predestined that you were going to go to Tulane. We're going to show a couple of these pictures right here from when y'all were young. You had one of y'all. There you go. Look at little Blaze Blanchard right there. That's got a Tulane hat on. With the same logo, I believe, as this helmet, which is outdated. Every time a Tulane person sees this one, I'm like, they say, "Dude, can you update it?" I'm like, I keep telling them, all I need is a sticker. Just put it over there. And there's little Blaze again. Look at that. He's got the baseball in his hand at probably 9 months old right there. He's got the lefty.
He's already working
Tandon,
it.
work
Working
on
it
it.
lefty. He's got the
Carrollton Boosters.
WCW Carrollton Booster belt right there. He just won the championship. And look at that swing. You can already tell right there. He's got that core working perfectly. That's coaching. That's dad and granddad right there. And the same thing right there. 15 years later, he's got that same swing right there, looking beautiful. And we're going to show some pitching video with Billy Billy, I keep calling you Billy because I know your dad.
Right.
William Good. And when he was in high school, not high school, shoot, you're probably what, 4th, 5th grade right here, maybe 6th grade? Young, but he's got the Tulane shirt on already. That is what we call a ballpark in the French Quarter. You don't see that very often.
Stewart Hall hat.
And the Stewart Hall hat right there. By the way, I went to that same school, but it was Carrollton Presbyterian back then. But yeah, there he is. Both of you had Tulane stuff on early. I'll start with you this time. Did you have any idea growing up that might be where you're going to go? Because your dad's an LSU guy.
Absolutely no idea. Just panned out that way. I mean, fine. I didn't know what sport I was really going to like until about that transition until high school.
I feel bad for both of you guys here. I understand that not everybody can get an LSU like your dads did. The brains don't always pass down, right? I mean, they don't always, but at least you got into Tulane. Somebody let you in. So
congratulations. Something better than general studies.
There it is. What's wrong with general studies, man? You become versatile in general studies. You learn a lot about a lot of things. That's what I heard. That's what they told me. Hey, you already got a shirt.
Right.
But we're going to give you one right here. Task Performance, a Tulane guy on Audubon Boulevard. That's where he lives. Not giving you the address, but he started that. He's the last player in Tulane history that was an all-SEC player.
Really?
They were in the SEC. Do your research.
The 40s?
Right. No, the 60s, baby. 60s. They didn't switch over until I was born. They switched over, no, but he's a basketball player that averaged 19. His name is Al Andrews, 19 a game every year. And we're going to have, I also gave you one of these as well. Hey, go check out Chase Dell's Chase. If your dad will let you go to another restaurant, I'm not so sure. But yeah, just go get a couple appetizers and enjoy yourself. And then we're going to have you sign the ball that the helmet that William signed a little while ago. And don't sign over Travis Jesuit. He's a friend of mine. But we've got Jay Ullman on there as well. We've got a lot of guys on here. This football helmet's got all the legends over. All the legends. And by the way, I was a Tulane bat boy, 1977, 78, and 79.
Maybe I might have to try it out again.
Actually, I could use a little extra side cash. Is there a side hustle here? I would love that front row seat, especially see you guys. In your freshman class, congratulations. Y'all are going to have some special guys.
I'm excited.
That's more research I did last night till the wee hours. I was looking up each one of those dudes, the Catholic High guys. You got Ainsworth coming. Ainsworth is coming down here. That's his brother. Did his brother pitch with you? Yeah. Kurt Ainsworth was a major league pitcher, and his son, that's what I meant, his dad. His son's coming down, so you got some great guys.
Right.
Tulane baseball fans, look out. It's going to be back, and I cannot wait. They went to the World Series in 2000, and I believe it was 2006 or 2005 was that other one, and they're looking to do some great things again, like Rick Jones did back in the day. Jay Ullman is getting prepared for next season, and speaking of prepared, hey, we got 3 generations of Blanchard. You met Blaze. He's going to stay right here. We're going to do 3 on the set. I know that's going to drive my producer crazy because the camera angles get nuts, but we got John Blanchard Sr. He played some college baseball. We got some good video of that. Look out. And my man was sporting a good stash back in the day. And also his son, Johnny Blanchard, who played baseball as well. It's a baseball family. He was at LSU. So, and by the way, LSU's got 5 titles. That's all I'm saying. And we got 6 now, but 5 under Burtman and 1 under Maneri. We're coming right back with the Blanchers right here on Primetime Sports. Hey, welcome back to Primetime Sports. You know, this state is blessed with incredible baseball. And we have 3 different schools represented right here. You saw Blaze Blanchard, he's going to Tulane. Well, shoot, John Blanchard Sr. went to Loyola. Used to be a powerhouse back in the day. Ask somebody, look it up and Google it. Back in the 50s, 60s, we'll go back to the 40s and even early 70s. John Blanchard Sr. played there up until 72 when they took baseball out for a while. But that was a big-time baseball school. They won all the local stuff against UNO and Tulane and even LSU back in the day, but he transferred when they finished. He went to Northwestern, so that's 3 schools represented up in Natchitoches, and we got some great videos to show you there. And my man over here, the other one, Johnny Jr., he went to LSU back in the heyday. He was there 2 years. They won 2 national championships. That's it, 96, 97. They did a little something. And Johnny Blanchard, here we got Johnny Blanchard right here to my left. What's up, my friend? I've known you for a long time.
Thank you.
John Blanchard Sr.
Yes, indeed.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
And then Blaze, we just met. 3 generations of Blanchards. I'm going to start with Dad real quick.
All right.
Dad, you're the patriarch of this, and I'm sure it even goes further than you. But, man, what is it like to just watch your kids, not following your footsteps completely, but following the baseball footsteps in life? All great kids, all great people.
You know, it's been a blessing.
Yeah.
And baseball has been like the thread that was a major part of the relationship of my dad and I.
Yeah.
And it's been the major thread between my son and I, and it's been a tremendous blessing to have a grandson that not only continues that thread, but he's better than us, and so that's kind of exciting. So we're looking, for good things, and we couldn't be happier. He's going to Tulane and being in the hometown and
you get to see him all
around the corner
time
from the businesses. Sure, I mean. I really didn't get a chance. He played all his high school baseball in Lafayette, so I really didn't get a chance to see him that much live.
Right, sure.
These days you do have the opportunity to get video and such. But
I felt like I watched him a lot, though.
Yeah.
You go to Yale College Inn, they had on the TV screen, the computer, it might have been a little fuzzy, but we got to see him because you're that grandfather, man. You were proud and you were watching him.
It was so it's been kicks. And baseball is it's a tough game, and there's more failures than successes when you play this game. I mean, on a personal level. And so sometimes I always wondered why I was going to put my son through that, and why I would put my grandson through that. But
a lot of life lessons, though.
Yeah, but it makes you I really think it's made me a much better person and able to handle adversity in life as it's come along and handle success as it's come along. So
John's the Holy Roller. WLAE WLAE, where we sit, did a documentary on him. We got the Holy Roller thing. I mean, that was a big deal. Rock and Bowl it was your brainchild. Mid-City Lanes, obviously, and having music with bowling. I don't know if that's been done many places before, but I know I never heard of it. Yeah. And it got so big. I remember I had a 20. There you go, right there. Look at this guy with the guitar, the Holy Bowler. I love that. I said the Holy Roller, the Holy Bowler. But the fact is, he's both. You're the Holy Roller as well. No, the fact is that you started this whole thing in New Orleans, at least. I had my 25th, or maybe 20th reunion there at the old Mid-City Lanes back in the day. Yeah. But so I love it. Everybody loves it. You grew up with this a little bit, and you really grew up with it, Blaze. But talk about growing up, not just with baseball, but this whole restaurant, Yale College Inn, Rock and Bowl, Mid-City Lanes. What's that been like, Johnny?
Sure. I mean, I was 12 years old when my father, took over Mid-City Lanes.
Tulane and Carrollton, right there?
Sitting there at Tulane and Carrollton up the steps, and I remember, painting it Blessed Mother Blue and.
What kind of blue?
Blessed Mother Blue.
Blessed Mother Blue. All right.
It should be a helm paint
That's
color
the holy
by
part.
now.
That's the holy part, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have some Mid-City Lanes ones up there too. That's the Rock and Bowl where it is now, correct? Which has become legendary.
Yeah, and the funny part is that I probably became a better hitter at that point. At 12 because he was no longer around to tell me what to do.
Oh, right.
He was working all the time.
That's a painting of Mid-City Lane.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, you got some real coaching.
That's just a joke.
You got some real coaching. We know.
It is the truth.
Besides that,
I used to wake up in the morning and throw in baseballs, go to work, come at noon, throw in baseballs, go to work. Coach him in the evening.
The same thing, man.
And I knew he had some ability, but it just wasn't there. But as soon as I bought the bowling alley and I could no longer be around,
he blossomed.
All of a sudden he could start hitting.
Coincidence? I don't know. I mean, probably just a coincidence. He probably just got mature. But the fact is, you grew up with this whole thing. I don't know if you Probably didn't know your great-grandfather, but it sounds like he had the same thing. I'm picturing right now Field of Dreams with each set of y'all, because I grew up doing it. And I remember going with my own kid. I'd go from work at Fox or Turner Sports, and right after his baseball practice, I'm just humming balls and throwing 100. So I love the family dynamic of it. But what's it been like for you, Blaze?
It's been a blessing to learn a lot from someone in your family than having to go out and find it. It's been a lot easier to be able to be knowledgeable about the sport.
Yeah, you live, eat, and breathe it. I mean, these guys that didn't just play the game, Little League and stuff. I mean, they went on other levels. They went to college. They went, obviously, great high school as well. Obviously, you went to Rummel here. Great program at Rummel.
Yeah.
You went on LSU. What was it like, honestly, going from, a great Catholic League background? We know the baseball in the Catholic League. Lots of great players have come out of Rummel. The Blanchers. I remember I played against those guys. At least what's the older one? Not Kurt. What's the other one?
Oh, Jimmy.
Jimmy.
Yeah.
That's my age.
Yeah.
He went on to play major leagues as well. But no, but you went to LSU. You won 2 titles. Kind of give me that whole breakdown.
Yeah, I mean, LSU just seemed to me like this place that was impossible to ever play for. It was the. You're growing up, it's 91, 93. I'm watching 2 national championships.
Brett Laxton wins the first one against Wichita State,
93.
Right?
Strikes out, I think he struck out 16 or 17 that day.
Yeah.
Watch that. That was, too big. There was just no way. And then really out of nowhere, I got this opportunity to go there and walk on. And I did. And it was the best decision I ever made in my life. It set me on a whole new course. Learned so much from Skip Bertman and
his book's
and
right
all
here
the guys
on our coffee
and the
table
teammates.
right here.
Yeah.
In fact, I'll pick it up since I'm on 3-shot and I won't block yours. Yeah, Glenn Gilbo wrote this book, and we had him on right after he did it. But I was there when Bertman got to LSU. I was at LSU. I was a student, and I tried to be a walk-on. I was a sophomore, and he's like, "You're not good enough." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, at least you told me." But I thought I was, but I really wasn't. But no, I didn't know what he was building. No one knew what was about to come, because this guy had come from Miami. And, guys like Mike Papajohn and Jeff Yurton, these are guys I hung out with regularly. I bartended at Fred, so they're always there. So that was the foundation. And then you guys, because Ben McDonald's teams could not get over the hump. Remember, he gave up that grand slam to Stanford in the World Series. They got to the World Series a bunch, but it wasn't until that door got knocked down in 91, and then they won, and they had the 5 in a decade, 91, 93. But your first 2 years there, you're part of the greatest moment in the history of LSU sports, period. And I say moment because you might think football championships are bigger, and granted, on a national level they are, but the one moment when you're down by 1 run, and within the 9th inning to a powerhouse Miami, and you have 1 man on base, and you come up with no home runs all season. Warren Morris, he had injuries to his hand, and he hits a line drive that you think is hopefully maybe going to tie the game or at least keep you alive, and all of a sudden the home run sneaks over the wall, and you're like, wait. We didn't just tie the game, we just won the game. I'll never forget that. But what's it like being an LSU guy your freshman year there like that?
All of a sudden, I think this is normal.
Yeah, they've won 3 now in 5 years. This is what we do.
But to Skip's credit, it was normal. I mean, it was something that we truly did visualize these great moments, and he'd lay you down and make everybody sit and just kind of think through and visualize, smell the grass of Omaha, and it was just this incredible turn of events. I mean, it changed my life. Warren hits that, and all of a sudden now, by just default, I'm now a part of something.
You're a champion. You're a champion. You'll always be a champion. And you win the next year.
It taught me a lot, though. I mean, I felt like I got an MBA sitting next to Skip in the dugout.
Right.
It was just.
Was Ronnie Rance on your team?
No, Ronnie.
That was pre. He was right.
Ronnie was before me, but
great
good friend.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, Johnny, I think you're the glue of this group here. I mean, I'm serious. I've watched you for 10 years. I moved back about 11 years ago. I kind of met you on my way. Got to know you a couple years later. But I watched your whole deal. I mean, you went over to Lafayette. You started Rock and Roll Lafayette with your dad, obviously, and I've watched you turn that thing into something magical. Really, I mean, it's beautiful. You took an old Whitney Bank, and just this thing is rolling, and it's a gorgeous facility over there. But what's it like to be in this little group of things you're doing over there with your dad?
Oh, look, there's nothing better than doing business with family, and there's nothing better than getting up every day and having a a family not only as your backbone, but also it's just a better way to fight for something.
Yeah.
It's gratifying. Obviously, I'm grateful. I've got some great kids, and I've had a great dad,
daughter,
mom.
Yeah, your daughter's she's still at Turling's, right?
Yeah, I have one at Turling's.
Great wife.
And I've got a.
Both of you have great wives, by the way.
Yeah, look, we've
Deborah,
married well.
Your mother, Deborah, and your wife, phenomenal. I get to see her a good bit. I've only met your wife a couple times.
Yeah, she's
stellar.
phenomenal. And I have an older daughter that's a senior at LSU right now.
Good for her. Good for her.
You know, it's great.
You sent me some footage of your dad, and I don't want the show to get out before.
Yeah.
It's Dad play. This footage is a joke. It's not the 30s or 40s. It's the 70s. But that is John Blanchers Sr.
That's when you can take the catcher out.
And my favorite thing here is when you give the low high five, low 10, and you're getting all excited right here. I think it's coming, and you're gonna go just fire. He's fired up. Look at him. He's fired up. I mean, I love it. That is he's turning around, giving him something. And then here we go, boom! That is a hard. That guy had to get some ice on his hands after that one. And there we go.
This is the homer here to win the conference championship.
You won the conference championship?
It's the Grand Slam.
A Grand Slam?
Yeah.
Was that your only one of your career or what?
First time I ever hit a ball over the fence.
For real?
For real.
And you hit a Grand Slam?
Played.
Sounds like Will Clark's first game with the Houston Astros. I mean, for real. Once again, I'm going back to the star over here. You're going to Tulane. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, we've kind of touched on it, but what's it like now? You got these two people in your life that are so huge. You got all the other family in New Orleans. But honestly, you get to, we said it before, but I wanted you to say it in front of them. You get to be home literally blocks away from where their restaurant and their, obviously the bowling alley is. What's that like?
It's pretty humbling.
It's surreal to me. I mean, a little bit.
Really is. To be back where it all started. You're back blocks away where you grew up from and get to play for a team in a program that's just been great.
I love this. By the way, your grandfather was the
Irish Grand Marshal.
The Irish Grand Marshal. Now this wasn't the year, right?
It was a great opportunity to wear green.
This is this year. This is this year. He's the Irish Grand Marshal. I remember either the day or the day after you got named that last year, and that was a big thing. And I mean, I'm like, oh my God, that's a huge deal. And what was that like as family for you?
Well, the most fun of the whole situation was to be able to march with my son, my son-in-law, and my two grandsons. I have another grandson will be a junior, Brother Martin, this year. And anyway, to have have these guys with me, have them with your grandpa is pretty nice, pretty special.
I have a medium back there for you, but
small medium.
These are going to be long. I get that. It's back there. I can't reach it right now, but we give gifts and task performance. Johnny, you're going to get a large, and that's a nice color, green. Oh yeah. How about that? You get to.
Oh yeah, man, I love that. That's
perfect.
Beautiful. Yeah.
And you know what? If you want, I know you're still svelte. If you want to, make it a little snugger, just throw it in the dryer.
All right.
Throw it in the dryer, bro. And we got one for you. I'm not going to quite open this. I'm going to give you it because I have the medium back there. I couldn't reach it during the break. It's a lot of action going. Task performance, man. Right there. Indeed. And also, I don't even know if should I give restaurant people gift certificates for restaurants? I mean,
save it for the next guest.
I'll save that one. I'm going to do you because you take your wife there.
We love all the New Orleans restaurants.
There you go. You do. I know you go to.
Oh yeah.
Let me tell you this about Mr. Blanchard. He is there every day at both Rock and Bowl and Yale College, and he starts at Yale College in about 4 or 5. What I love is you see the owner there, and it means it makes a difference. Wow. Like when I see, and then you go over to Rock and Bowl, 8:30, it depends. Takes his shirt off. He's still dancing on the stage, and I hope at what are you, 60, 65?
70.
I'm just joking. I hope at 70 I can at least attempt to do something close to you. Look at him hula hooping right there like it's nothing with some food in there. I love this. This is the legend right here. This is a great family. Go check them out up there. I just like looking at the pictures, man. I'm just sitting here. But I enjoyed it, guys.
Yeah.
Appreciate you. Love you, man.
Love
Johnny.
You. Love you.
Johnny,
Thank you.
John, and Blaze.
Appreciate it. Roll Wave.
Roll Wave. We're all about the Wave last week.
Yes, indeed.
I've had an LSU show recently. Had Brian Kelly right there with Kim Mulkey. Had the gymnastics coach at LSU. But I've been Wave, a lot of Wave. I even had the Tulane track coach.
A
lot of Wave going on.
You play it straight.
I'm across the board. Yeah. But hey, I want to thank you guys so much.
Thank
for real.
you.
And also the Jesuit contingent. What great things they have.
Yep.
And if you got on this show late, come on and catch the replay because that was a great segment right there with William Good and, of course, his coach, Kenny Goodlett, over there at Jesuit. 22nd state championship, second in 3 years that they got. But congratulations, and I hope great things along the way for the Wave. Right. Hey, so a lot of people here. WLA, want to thank everybody here. Will, you know, my man Logan, and of course Alex and Jim Dotson and Ron Yeager. We couldn't do it without all of them. Hey, we're going to continue. This has been a fun show. I love it. My first baseball high school show in 8 years here, and I can't wait to do more. And maybe we'll bring Goodlett back next year when they win it again. But hey, we'll see you next week on Primetime Sports.